Okay, welcome everybody. You're such an ass. Oh my gosh.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi everybody. This is reviewable. If I sound annoyed, it's because I am. And I'm leaving that last clip in so that everybody knows.
Okay, good.
This week, we have a special guest. Say hi, special guest.
Hi, I'm the special guest.
It's President Joe Biden.
That's right. Vote for me, 2024.
It's former President Donald Trump.
Also vote for me, 2024.
Okay, tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Armando. I'm one of the people that they so rudely bleeped my name out a few episodes ago. And I took it so personally that I wanted to be on the show.
To set the record straight or what?
Here he is.
Yeah, and here I am.
He just wants to bleep out our names.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to be editing this
No, he
episode?
doesn't. He doesn't
Absolutely.
understand. He doesn't understand that he's actually not going to be editing anything, so he can't bleep out our names.
Yeah, you wish.
Though he may try.
I will try.
Okay, well, this is Braden's cousin, Armando, and he's
Mhm.
visiting
So what month are we still in, Micah?
the month of love.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
We had to watch a romance movie.
So what does that mean?
Even though technically we didn't. Technically, this is not a romance movie.
Yeah, they say that at the beginning.
But they're liars.
I don't think so.
It is. Come on. Yes, it is. It's not a conventional one.
I don't know. Anyways, we watched the movie 500 Days of Summer. And here's our episode where we talk about how summer is a bitch.
Yaggers, Micah. I don't think you realize. Well, I'm not sure how many people are actually going to watch this, but I don't think you realize the passion.
I know. I was just on Reddit before this.
Okay.
To prepare myself.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's always a mistake.
This is actually like a pretty fierce debate among the
I know. I was just on Reddit.
subpopulation that
I'm
likes
going to be
this
sharing
movie.
some of the things that I read because it was so absurd.
All right.
Well, what did we like about it?
Did you write down a synopsis?
No, I didn't.
Give one.
Okay, so Tom is played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he falls in love with Summer, who's played by Zooey Deschanel. I don't know if this movie is where it came from, but there is a really perfect way to describe exactly what Zooey Deschanel is, and by extension, her character in this movie. It's called the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. And that's exactly what she is. It's a perfect description. Just like, I don't even feel like I can even explain what I mean by that, but hopefully
Just look up what the term means.
hopefully you understand what I mean by that when I say that. She's just very quirky, like manically quirky. And yeah, basically they have a non-committal relationship, but they are not necessarily in agreement about that, and it causes tension. And we're following Tom's story as he meets her, dates her, breaks up with her, and how it affects his life and how he overcomes the trauma, I guess, of their relationship.
His own personal and mental struggles.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I think a lot of people will have seen this movie by now. It came out a long time ago.
14 years ago, maybe?
Yeah. But anyway, that's what it's about. So what did we like?
So what didn't we like?
Okay, that's not fair. I actually think this is a really good movie.
Okay. I was so torn, conflicted about this movie. I really enjoyed watching it. I thought that some of the imagery that they used was really good, and the way that they expressed Tom's feelings in the way of using the greeting cards and showing the different elements of his life based on where he was in the stages of grief after losing not Zoe. What's her name? Summer.
Yeah.
Played by Zoe.
Right.
Yeah. And just the subtle things that you might not have caught just from watching it that somebody would mention. When he's sitting on the train heading to that wedding and Summer goes and she looks at a book that she thinks initially is about architecture, but it's really about how he can build his life back to being happy. So I liked all the little things that were going on and how you would watch his healing process. And he'd hit some really good peaks, and then he'd see Summer again, and he'd just dip straight back down into another valley.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I love the editing in this movie, personally. I think like the whole like I love it shows like day 1 or like day 30, and you can see subtle changes going on in the background of those little cards. Like it's very happy around like the beginning to the middle, and then it gets very gloomy, and then as you get to like the very end and he's getting to the end of his healing process, it becomes more sunny again. And there's little touches like that that are really clever that I just appreciate that kind of stuff now that I've been editing videos every week. I think they did a really good job with all that stuff. Micah, what did you like?
The acting was good.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of storytelling, but I didn't necessarily like the story.
Okay.
I know you have a bunch of notes. Just read them off so that we can talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So one of the things they discuss basically like the origin of why Tom is the way he is and why Summer is the way she is at the very beginning. There's a narrator, which I don't always like in movies, but I feel like it works for this movie because it's just feels like alternative and it feels like it fits somehow.
Yeah.
With that vibe.
Well, the narrator's he's not omnipresent either.
No.
He's just there a couple of times.
Yeah. But they say that Tom's like romanticism came from pop culture and like songs from the 80s and the 90s. He listens to the Smiths, so he's got like this romantic idea of how love is supposed to be and how soulmates are supposed to be, and he gets it from like movies as well. So he's like sort of a hopeless romantic type. And then Summer is a emotionally detached type, and it comes from her parents being divorced. And one thing that the narrator says at the beginning was after her parents got divorced, she only loved 2 things: her long dark hair and how she could feel nothing when she cut it off. I thought that was pretty funny, but like also sort of gives you an insight into the kind of person that Summer is. And when I heard that line, because there's a huge debate on the interweb about who's the villain of this movie, who's the bad guy, and the popular opinion is that Tom is the bad guy, even though he's the one that we follow throughout the movie. Because reason is because he doesn't respect Summer's boundaries and he doesn't listen to her. But after hearing that line, it makes her sound a little bit sociopathic. She's not a sociopath, but like, I don't think she comes from a very healthy place either. And it's unfair to demonize one and not talk about the flaws of the other, I think.
No, I 100% agree. Yeah. So there's 4 attachment styles, and that's what I was thinking about as I was watching this movie. It's that there's avoidant, insecure, not avoidant, insecure. Well, avoidant, yeah. Secure, clingy. I can't remember what one of them is, but basically clingy. And then the last one is like clingy avoidant, where
clingy avoidant.
Yeah, where like you have that craving to be around people and to constantly be in a relationship, but you can't like give yourself to that person, and so you end up pushing them away. And avoidants do this thing where they get into a relationship really fast, and then they get bored also super fast, and they pull back.
That's Summer.
Yeah, and that's Summer.
Yeah,
she's super avoidant, and it's all because of the way that she grew up with her parents. And Tom is definitely clingy and super insecure.
Yeah.
And super dumb.
Yeah. But like, again, like Micah said, they both play the parts so perfectly. I feel like. What?
When did I say that?
You said that you like the acting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why'd you give me a weird look?
I just didn't remember saying that, but
okay,
you're fine. Keep going.
She likes the acting. They played the roles perfectly. So.
Yeah, Micah's like, they did good acting, and then I compliment the acting, and she's like, "What are you talking about?"
I basically said, "Yeah, it was okay," and then Braden goes, "Yeah, so like Micah said, this was an amazing movie, and the acting
and what happened.
The way that they cast the people that they cast for these characters were amazing." You're just putting words in my mouth, and I just didn't remember that that's what I... Anyways, keep going.
Braden read her 1-star review and said, "No, that looks like a 5 to me."
I did exactly what Tom does in this movie, and I read too deeply into what he said and misinterpreted it. But like, I think this movie would really fail if the performances weren't there, because those are the two that you follow. They're side characters, but they're very much side characters. Those two are the two. So if they didn't have that down, this movie would suck. But they both play their parts really, really well, I thought.
I thought so. It was, as far as I could tell, a really accurate portrayal of how like situations like that happen in real life.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow. Honestly, when I was watching it, it was a little uncomfortable. I was like, dang, this feels a little too real right now.
Yeah. Same. I feel like it's not uncommon for, people that watch this movie to have had an experience with a Summer.
Yeah.
Or a Tom. I feel like that's less common. But I feel like from what I've like read and listened to, people are like, yeah, I dated a Summer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I dated a Summer.
Yeah. Micah, did you date a Summer?
Not quite that extreme, but yeah.
In some ways.
In some ways.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on Reddit earlier, this person was like, a friend said I remind him of Summer. Is this a good or bad thing? And someone commented and goes, I assume it's a compliment and that they mean you are cute, dreamy, unique, quirky, etc. If someone ever said that to me, I would punch them.
I would be offended.
I would never talk to them ever again.
It's really hard for me to watch this movie and appreciate Summer's good qualities because of the absolute ringer that she puts Tom through. Even though, like, a lot of it is Tom's fault, a lot of the other, like, some of it isn't his fault. And we're going to get into this a little bit because this is where people have problems. Anyway, go ahead.
So some of the things that happen in this movie that are frustrating is that, and like Braden has mentioned, like the boundaries that
I guess we're spoiling it, by the way. This isn't really going to be a spoiler free. Yeah, we're going to be spoiling like the ending and everything. So
yeah,
because at the beginning, what happens? Summer is like, I'm not looking for a relationship. I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want to date anybody.
Okay, wait, let me stop you. I want to paint a very clear picture about how their relationship starts. So
I was gonna say it.
Okay.
The copy room?
No.
Okay.
Even before that. So they go to this work party, and they're all hanging out at this work party, and then Tom's friend gets really drunk, so they have to walk him outside. So Summer, the friend, and Tom walk outside to get this friend a taxi, and the friend is all drunk, and he says, Summer, he likes you.
He likes you.
He likes you a lot. He's like obsessed with you. And then when they get him into the taxi, Summer is like, so do you like me?
After she had just said,
and prior to that, yeah,
I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want to date anybody. I don't want anything.
Well, they were discussing whether or not love exists,
and she said it doesn't.
She doesn't think it does. And she said, there's another line she says that like struck a chord with me, and it was like, relationships, like people have feelings, and feelings get hurt, and who needs that? And that's like a totally avoidant way to look at relationships. But anyway, they have this conversation, and Tom disagrees with her. Immediately after this, she becomes very flirtatious with him as they send their friend away in the taxi. And she's like, I think you're interesting. I think we should be friends. And he's like, okay.
And then, like, I don't know if it's the next day, but, like, basically the next scene, they're in the copy room together.
Yeah.
And he likes her, and she knows that he likes her. And then she just goes up and makes out with him.
Yes.
And then walks away.
Yes. Okay. My problem with that is, who knows whether Tom would have even pursued her. Like,
I think he would have just been obsessed with her and not
he wouldn't have asked her out, because now he has a reason to be afraid of asking her out rather than just the reasons he's been making up. And the reason is, like, she doesn't want to be in a relationship. I feel like a person like him probably would never have asked her out after that. She's the one that initiated contact, knowing how he felt, just like he knew how she felt. this sword cuts both ways. It's not just Tom's fault not understanding her feelings. She should understand his feelings as well by this point.
So then I think they go on a date, right?
Yeah.
And on the date, she says, "I'm not looking for anything serious."
Yeah, but she already has her hooks in him because she made out with him.
And he says, or no, she says, I just want to keep this casual." And he goes, "Okay, we'll take it slow." And that right there, I think, is a huge, like, ding, ding, ding. They're miscommunicating right there. She says she doesn't want anything. She just wants to hook up, basically. And he's thinking we're moving towards a relationship.
Right.
Do you agree?
Yeah, big red flag. She wants friends with benefits. He thinks he's in love with her, like, on totally different pages.
And then throughout the rest of the movie, these things happen where it appears as though they're not seeing anybody else. He's definitely not seeing anybody else. And it appears as though she's not seeing anybody else. And they're dating, and they go on dates, and they hang out, and they sleep over, and all these things. But she doesn't want a relationship. But she's acting like she's in a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And then at some point, they're at a bar together, and this guy, his character's name is literally Douche.
Yeah.
Starts hitting on Summer in a super aggressive way, and
he insults Tom multiple times as well. It's like, this guy is your boyfriend? Says that like 3 or 4 times.
And Summer just kind of ignores the guy, and then Tom gets up and he punches the guy, and Summer throws a fit afterwards. Why would you do that? It was so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed that you punched that guy. And all Tom can think is, I was defending, like, myself, but also you.
He says he was defending her, but when I watched that scene a second time, he's defending himself. Because, how emasculating it must be to be dating a Summer for as long as he does, and then to have this guy come and, explicitly call his masculinity into question.
And his insecurities that he already has.
Yeah. He's just, he's letting his bottled up frustrations out at that point. And
so basically he punches this guy, and then they go back to her apartment, and she goes off on him, and he gets mad, and he's like, "This is messed up. I'm done." Right?
No, he says,
"Oh, we're in a relationship. I don't care what you say." And then he goes home.
No,
right?
What happens is she says that they're not, why do we need to label it? And he says, "You're not the only one that gets a say in this." And I say, "We're a couple, damn it." And then he leaves.
And then that night, she shows up at his house and
sleeps over.
And, is like, "I want to be with you." And he's like, "But I need, a guarantee." And she's like, "I can't promise how I'll feel tomorrow." And then kisses him and then sleeps over.
If you can't see how that's problematic when you're dating someone like Tom, okay, yeah, sure. Maybe also, Tom shouldn't be with her. Tom should have left. You're right. Yes.
But also, she's not seeing everything that we're seeing necessarily. You don't see all the things about people when you're dating. She doesn't see that he's obsessing over her at his desk, talking to his friends constantly in his own personal time.
Yeah, but she sees the fight, and he's expressed to her that he needs to feel stable. He needs to feel secure. She's not.
Yeah.
So you give that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I guess that's fine if that's how you want to live your life, and Tom should leave, but keep in mind, she got her hooks into him at the beginning of this movie. So it's really hard for him to leave because he loves feeling like he has a person. He loves feeling like he loves the idea of her,
Yeah, exactly. That whole scenario from the bar until they, quote unquote, make up at Tom's apartment, there's just a series of events that are all, we've really touched on them, but even the catalyst for when he actually gets up and punches the dude, he had insulted him, not Summer.
Yeah.
He had insulted Summer a couple of times, but
not
it was really about Tom.
Yeah, because I kept waiting for him to say, "Oh, you're ugly," because usually what happens when that type of guy comes and asks a girl out and she rejects him, he immediately turns around and starts insulting her.
Mm-hmm.
"You're a bitch. You're ugly. Nobody even wants to date you." But he didn't do that. He started insulting Tom.
Yeah. Well, and Tom, he just sat there twiddling his thumbs like an idiot. Like, he stares at the guy, makes a face at him like he's gonna do something, and he immediately backs down. He should have just left it at that. And then he makes the mistake of hitting the guy, which I agree with Summer in that instance to a certain extent. He shouldn't have gotten up. He should have been the bigger man, whatever. There was no point to do it. Guy was leaving.
Sure, but also they both should have said, let's just go.
Yeah. I mean, she had...
If she is really his friend, she would have said, what the heck is this guy's problem? Let's go.
Yeah. I mean,
she's not his friend.
You can tell in that scene, though, that like something's going on even before that guy shows up. Like, she's not engaging with him. He's just sitting there quietly. She doesn't even want to talk to him.
See, that it's details like this is why I really like this movie. It feels like a realistic thing, you know? And there's like subtext that you can dig into with like small scenes like that. Anyway, sidetrack, but
yeah. But just watching this whole series of events unfold and all of the things that happened between the bar and them making up was really showed that each of them are in it for themselves. Summer's only in it for herself as far as it benefits her, and Tom is really only in it for himself, as long as it makes him feel good. And it makes him feel good right now. So that's what he cares about.
Yeah. I think this is probably a good movie for really everybody to watch, because you can relate to either Tom or Summer in some way. And one thing that I picked up on this time was his friends can tell like that something's not right from the beginning, because when he's talking about the things he loves about Summer, he's like going into hyperbole about how beautiful she is, and I love her little birthmark she has. It looks like a heart, and I love her knees, and I love all this stuff. And like that's like, methinks he doth protest too much, you know? He's like trying to convince himself that he actually likes her. And one of his friends says like, oh boy, when he says that to him, because like they can tell like something's off. And I think that it's good for people to watch this, because if you've ever been in a relationship like this, the odds are, if you're close to your friends, they will have told you like something's not quite right. That happened with me. I didn't listen, but I should have listened. And this movie like shows that actually taking place. So I feel like it's a good like little template. Like, listen to your friends. They're closer to you than this person that you're dating.
Yeah, they know you a lot better.
Yeah.
And on a funny note about it too, is like even his sister, she's what, 11, right?
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. She's great.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
What do they say? He's talking to her at soccer practice, and he's questioning everything and what he should do, and she just gets up and says, "Tom, don't be a pussy."
She's like so wise. It's like it's really funny how wise she is.
Yeah.
For like a 10-year-old or whatever. What else? Yeah, one I actually wrote down one of her quotes. She says something about him going through the relationship with rose-colored glasses or something.
Sister.
Yeah, and then she said, "Next time you look at your relationship, you should look again, because I think you're remembering the good stuff."
Only the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked that, because I think the opposite can also happen, where you look back on a relationship and see only the negatives or only the positives. And it's important to, you know, make yourself see both sides of it so you can have a balanced perspective. So I liked that.
Yeah. And from like a cinematography standpoint, throughout the movie, they show you all of these same scenes that he goes back and reflects on again in a different light.
Yeah.
But even we don't have the context to everything that happens. So you look at something and ask like, well, why did that just happen? What's going on with that? Or it's just a clip that seems like really out of place.
Yeah.
But by the time he goes back and reflects on it, like, oh, I understand why that happened.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind is when they go to the movie, which is whatever movie they were watching. Somebody gets married in it. She's hysterical about it. And they leave the theater, and he chases after her to make sure she's okay. And initially, when you see that scene, you just see them standing outside the theater. He's trying to comfort her, but she rejects it and walks away.
Yeah.
So at least my initial thought was like, all right, like that's a really turd thing to do. He's trying to be comforting to you, but then you go back and watch it, and even still, it wasn't a great response, but you understand why she did it and where Tom should have seen that as a bad sign.
Yeah. There are a couple of scenes in this movie that I think are just freaking brilliantly done. So there's two scenes that I really love in this movie. The first one is the first time he sleeps with Summer. The next day, he like walks out and they start playing "You Make My Dreams Come True," and it's just this like ridiculous, almost musical number, except it's like
a flash dance mob.
Yeah, everybody's dancing, but they're not singing, and he's just like strutting through the streets, and everybody's giving him high fives and like hugs. And then like a cartoon blue jay lands on his shoulder, and they start doing this like coordinated dance. I thought that was so funny. I loved that part, and I like turned to Micah and I was like, "This is the stuff that was missing from You've Got Mail." And Micah was like, "What a flash mob!" But like just anything different, anything inventive. This movie feels very inventive to me. Yeah, and I like that a lot about it.
I actually wrote a note about that little flash mob part.
Yeah.
Is I work in construction, so I see people in hard hats all the time. That dude that came up to him in the hard hat, I was just so happy. I know it was ain't nobody wearing a hard hat that happy. There's no way.
So unrealistic.
Yeah.
That's the most unrealistic thing.
1-star review. I can't.
And then the other scene I really liked was the expectations versus reality scene at the very end when he goes to her party. I thought that was like brilliantly done. So it's like it's like there's a lot going on at the party, right? And you're seeing two different versions of the party, so that can be a lot to like track if you're just watching the movie. It's so easy to track because they focus on him the whole time. Basically both shots are the exact same with just a couple of differences that are really easy to notice, and then eventually it merges into one in like a kind of seamless way. It's really good.
When the expectation side is faster than the reality side too. The reality side kind of lags behind a few seconds, so you can look at each one.
I love that.
Really easily. Yeah,
because like life, the sad life feels like it's going slower maybe.
Yeah.
But also your expectations, you don't think about every little detail.
True.
So it's probably going a little faster.
Yeah, it's like that's just brilliant. I love that. I love that whole sequence. It's really good.
So one of the things at like towards the beginning of the movie is that Summer invites him into her house, and he knows that this is like a big deal because I think she says like, "I don't ever invite anyone over." At the end of the movie, she has a house party and invites a ton of people over. When I was reading on Reddit, people were like, this is like to show a huge change in her, that she's inviting more people into her life and into her home.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
But the other thing...
Good for her.
Yeah. Apparently it was only like 3 months or something like that from when they broke up to her already being married or something like that.
Yeah, we haven't touched on that yet. So this is the last point that I wrote is you can whatever if we have differing opinions, and I'm talking in the general we,
the royal we.
Yeah, no, the royal we would just be me, just one person. But anyway, so Tom goes to a wedding of an old coworker, and Summer. This is after they've been broken up for 3 months, and Summer happens to be on that train because they both know the same coworker. He tries to ignore her. She sees him.
He doesn't really try to ignore her.
Well, he doesn't want to talk to her because he's like kind of trying to hide. And then she walks over to him. And then they spend the whole wedding together. It seems like they have re-sparked their connection. She asks him to dance with her, and they're dancing really close and slow. And then on the way home, she is like falls asleep on his shoulder. And then she says, "Hey, I'm having a party on the weekend. You want to come?" And that's where this expectation versus reality scene comes into play. And at a certain point in the party, he realizes she's wearing an engagement ring. No matter, we can disagree on like all of the movie up to this point. The fact that she said, "Why don't you come to my party?" knowing the feelings he had for her, knowing the attachment he felt for her, not even telling him it was an engagement party, not mentioning her fiance at all. Just that action alone, her sins are worse than Tom's sins in this movie for that, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. It felt super misleading the whole time. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just inexcusable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have one more point actually.
Oh my gosh, Braden.
So Tom has a favorite park in LA that he likes to sit on the bench, and at the very end of the movie, he's starting to turn his life around and apply to architecture jobs, and he's healing, right? And he's getting better, and you can tell he's getting better. She stalks him and goes and talks to him at this park. What good does she think she's going to be able to do?
After the party.
Yeah, after she's married.
She's already married.
I know, but I'm saying timeline-wise after the party. So, like,
yeah.
He knows, and she knows that he knows.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been probably months at this point.
Yeah. Either she does not care about how this will affect him emotionally, or she doesn't understand how this will affect him emotionally. I honestly don't know which one's worse. She should have learned.
I think she doesn't care, because there, again, something that she says in that scene, because he asks her a bunch of questions, and one of them is like, asking about the wedding that they both went to, and they danced at, and he's like, so why'd you dance with me? And like, was he already in your life, and had you already gotten engaged at that point? Like, not yet, but basically right after. And he's like, so why? She said, well, because I wanted to.
Yep. I hated that.
With no regard for him or his feelings at all. It was all her.
I hated
selfish.
That. She just uses him. And I think it's so stupid that people vilify Tom's toxic traits. And he does have them. I'm not trying to say he doesn't. I'm not trying to say he's a knight in shining armor. But she has them too. And it's not fair to vilify him and not vilify her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
On the spectrum, I'm definitely more pro Tom than I am pro Summer.
I'm pro Tom's friends and his sister. I thought they were both idiots, but all of his friends were good.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose between the two of them, I would pick Tom's side.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
It's like it's not all the way to that side. It's closer to the middle.
Yeah. They both made huge mistakes. And yeah.
But it's definitely not trending towards her.
No.
No way. Micah? Take
Same.
it. Yeah. Should we rate it? What would you give it?
I'm going to say this because it's a very well-made movie, but it's not my favorite movie because I have a hard time separating my hatred for some of the things that happened in the movie and how well it's made.
Yeah.
I'm going to rate it a 6.5 because I really do have a hard time separating the two.
Okay.
That's why. I'm going to rate it a 6.5 plate smashings.
I love that part. That part was so funny. Oh, man.
So I say that with a little asterisk. It's a very well-made movie. I think everybody should watch it just to see, different perspectives, but also to see a perspective of probably someone that's hurt you.
Yeah.
But that's why I give it a 6.5.
Yeah, it is kind of difficult to watch if you've ever been through something like this, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd give it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well made. And the only things that I didn't enjoy about it was how it made me feel, which I think was the point.
Right.
But so I'd give it probably an 8. I don't think it was perfect. There were definitely times where, like, for me, audio was really important. And there were for sure 2 times in the movie where the audio just was not good.
Okay.
Like the mixing of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like everything sounded really muffled. You couldn't really understand what was happening.
Is it like beginning of The Dark Knight Rises bad?
If I remembered how bad it was. Oh my, yeah. It's just like that. Summer is Bane. Yeah.
She is Bane.
Yeah.
She's the Bane of Tom's
Okay, but what do you rate it?
Oh, whatever.
An 8.
An 8.
An 8 what?
I gotta give it something though.
8 families in the kitchen out of 10, Micah.
Family's in the kitchen. I'm gonna give it a 9 Pillars of Autumn. Insert Halo theme. Out of 10. I think this is actually a top tier rom-com.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it's different than the other ones that you've seen. I feel very comfortable saying that. All right, well, we've got some disparate things to talk about, don't we?
Some what?
Disparate things that, individual things that we didn't all watch together.
Who are you? Using big words like that.
Mr. Vocabulary.
Yeah, you like that? I'm currently wearing a monocle and a top hat.
He's got a thesaurus.
Where'd you get that?
For anybody
I'm
wondering.
Mr. Peanut. Just imagine Mr. Peanut. That's who's talking into this microphone.
Armando, what did you consume this week?
All right. So this week, I'm going to start with a video game that I played. I'm a little behind on the hype train on this one, but Lies of P.
For those of you that don't know, that stands for Lies of Piss. This is a piss simulator where you go pee in different places.
Is that just trying to hit the blue soap bar in the urinal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
I know that people eat it.
Ew.
It's a well-kept secret.
Freaking gross. That's the lie of pee.
Yeah.
He ate the urinal cake. And he says that he didn't do it.
That's the whole game. It's 20 hours of getting through eating that urinal cake, telling everybody you didn't.
And then he comes home to Geppetto and he's like, "You did it again, didn't you?" And he's like, "No."
All right, what's
Little
this game
bubbles come out
about?
of his mouth. Yeah. So it's like a very dark version of Pinocchio. Forget everything you know about Pinocchio other than the names of characters. It has nothing to do with that. But you play as Pinocchio, or the boy, essentially. Nobody calls you by a name. You're just the boy, the puppet, whatever. So the premise of the game, and I'm going to spoil everything right from the beginning, just so you're aware, because I really can't talk about it without spoiling stuff about it.
You got to be free. Yeah, that's one thing I can tell you.
Got to be free. Got to break free. So
he raised my musical reference. Another musical reference.
So Geppetto, he lives in a city called Krot, and he's one of the greatest inventors of puppets during that time. And puppets for people are essentially replacing the workforce. They do all of the work that regular people would do.
So they're AI.
It's very Blade Runner.
Basically, yeah.
Or iRobot or whatever.
Yeah. So premise of those kinds of things, and then those puppets have something called the Grand Covenant imposed upon them, which says that they cannot harm humans in any capacity. And it's programmed into all of them from the start, with a select few that don't have that programming into them, namely your character does not.
So this sounds like
that.
iRobot.
And it was an accident? He's supposed to have it in him?
He's supposed to,
Okay.
no, he was
on
built
purpose?
that way on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because Geppetto built you to replace his dead son. So you look exactly like his dead kid. And his whole purpose in creating you...
Sounds healthy.
Exactly, yeah. In creating you was to send you out on challenges, teach you how to learn human emotions, all those kinds of things. And by the end of it, he expects that when you show up at the final area, that you're just going to turn your puppet body over to him so that he can revive his actual dead son from the dead. Yeah.
So is he the final boss?
Geppetto's not the final boss, but his meat monster kid is. That thing is terrifying and disgusting.
So it's very Bloodborne.
Very Bloodborne.
Because it's a Souls-like.
Yeah. Yep.
But it takes mostly inspiration from Bloodborne, it sounds like.
It's very Bloodborne-esque. The Gothic art style, which I personally love, of the Soulsborne series. Not Sekiro. I do love Sekiro, but Bloodborne is my favorite.
Yeah.
Just aesthetically, the way that things work, and it's very similar to Lies of P.
Okay.
But thankfully, it's all its own thing. It has its own leveling and progression system, totally different kinds of upgrades, things like that. It's an incredibly fun game. Just watching people play it, I thought it looked really clunky, not super fun to get into.
Yeah.
But I got
But
it
the
when
people
it was,
you were watching were just idiots.
Yeah, they were just idiots.
They didn't get good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. Got to get good. So
I bet if Michael Fassbender played this game, who you may know as the killer, he would make it look appealing. That's all I've got to say.
all right, but it's a great game. I'd recommend it to everybody that enjoys a challenge.
Are there any difficulty settings?
No, there are no difficulty settings.
Good.
Yeah, it is perpetually stuck on FU. That's the game.
Are you also annoyed by this this sort of small movement of people trying to make Souls games easier? And they're like, there needs to be difficulty settings because it's not accessible. Video games are supposed to be for everybody. Why? Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo-hoo. What's that thing? Womp womp.
Womp womp. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. Womp womp. Like,
Braden just found out what womp womp means today.
It's now his new catchphrase.
Yeah,
Everything
as
is
of
womp womp.
2 hours ago.
Yeah. Send an email to your boss. Womp womp. Yeah, I am not on that Souls train of it needs to be easier. I've beaten all of the Souls games. And I did it all by myself. Like, it's not a hard thing to do.
Ooh, I'm Armando.
Look, all right.
I'm just kidding.
I don't understand why you would want to play one of those games without it being hard, because that's like
the point.
It's very much part of the point. Yeah. If you want like a beautiful world to explore, go play a freaking Ubisoft game.
Yeah, or
they're great at that.
Yeah,
and you don't want to have to think about the combat. You just want to press a few buttons and be done. Play Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, or you want like a beautiful environment that has a lot of exploration. That's Souls like. Go play Breath of the Wild on Switch
or Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Well, Hollow Knight's not exactly easy either.
Yeah, that's true. But you can avoid some of the bosses that are really tough.
That's
in
true.
Hollow Knight.
And it's not that hard. I mean, I've been able to do it, and I'm not that good at video games.
The shoe is on the other foot now, huh?
I'm not that good at video games, and I was able to do it.
Yeah.
With Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's.
So you agree that I'm not that good at video games?
Yeah.
Greg, are you being Tom from 500 Days of Summer right now?
Are you insecure about how good you are at video games?
Sometimes. When we play 2-player games, and Braden is just an asshole. Why can't you do it? Just get good.
I have
Every
never
game
said
that Braden plays.
You said you just need to get good.
I have said that, but I'm joking every time I say it.
Yeah, Braden thinks it's fun to make me really mad when we play Smash together, so I can attest.
What would you rate this game?
I would give this game a pretty solid 9 out of 10.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it.
I'd give it 9 out of 10 robot serial killers.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds scary.
There's a huge plot around a robot serial killer. And I spoiled a bunch of the story, but like this, outside of the main story, is my favorite part. So anybody that wants to go and play it should experience it for themselves. But yeah, 9 out of 10 robot serial killers.
It's a really solid score.
Yeah.
I think I will play that. I guess I might as well let everybody know. I'm perpetually saving to build a PC, but we budget like some personal money so that we can.
What he's really saying is we're trying to crowdfund to buy that PC for Braden, and I keep offering parts to him, and he doesn't buy them from me. So
because
I don't have the money.
Ask him what he just bought. Ask him what just came in the mail.
Okay, but that was sweet though.
How much was it?
Just get?
You want to see it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll bring it out. I'm coming.
For a shirt? For a jersey?
But it came in this really cool box. It's limited edition.
Oh, the box is really okay. So the shirt was $20, and the rest of this was the other 120.
This is, and for those of you that are listening, this is an authentic AC Milan jersey, limited edition. It's the crossover that they did with Pleasures. It's an LA fashion company, I guess.
So it came in this box.
Yeah, I'll fold it up in that.
This box that looks and feels like a textbook.
Yeah, it literally is a yearbook.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, look up these jerseys. There's a white one and a black one. The white one sold out like within a day because it's so freaking sick. The black one's really cool too.
Yeah, look up their new AC Milan jerseys.
But yeah,
that's what Braden bought.
It is possible for me. I'm not addicted. I just saw that the white one sold out, and I was like, because we're going to Italy, and I was planning, okay, we're going to be in Rome. We're going to go to the Puma store in Rome. I'll get one there because then I can try on all the sizes, figure out which one I like. And then I saw that the white one was completely gone everywhere, on Puma, on AC Milan's official store, all the other stores, and I felt like I was gonna miss out if I didn't pounce. So I pounced like a puma, and now I've got it.
Wow. All right. End the podcast. It's over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole point of that was I haven't played that game because I don't have a PC that will run it.
If you just send me all of the money that you're saving up for it, I promise I'll take really good care of it.
You'll keep it in escrow?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
All $10.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Should I say how much I have? I'm not going to do that.
Oh my gosh. What did you...
Okay, so I played Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Okay.
I actually did a special video about this and released it without realizing that I hadn't talked about it on the podcast.
So it's just on YouTube, the special video.
Yeah, watch that. That's my real review of the game. I guess I didn't give it a number there, so I'm going to give it a number here, but I really, really liked it. It's actually fantastic.
What style of game is it?
It's a Metroidvania.
Okay.
A la Hollow Knight, Ori, Guacamelee, Metroid Dread, modern Metroidvania. It's got an incredibly robust combat system. It's got pretty much everything is parryable. Everything is dodgeable. So it's got some Souls / Sekiro in there. You've got the golden parry finisher stuff from Metroid Dread. So there's a lot of style packed into there. You've got all these powers that affect the way that you can fight, and the charms from Hollow Knight that affect the way you fight. Platforming challenges are really freaking good. They're like very precise. A lot of them force you to like think outside the box because you need to use your time powers in order to get through the challenges, and like some of the solutions are pretty creative, and the boss fights are just awesome.
Like aesthetically, they're awesome, or they're challenging. They're fun to fight.
Yeah, this is a hard game. I played at the second hardest difficulty, and some of these bosses like just freaking. They took me like 20 plus tries to beat.
Jeez.
But also this game's very accessible. You've got, I think, 5 different difficulty options, and then on top of that, you can change things like make the parry window a lot bigger. So it's much easier for you to get parries, or like change aspects of the platforming to make it not as hard. Like if you're not good at games, you can play this. I really like that about it. Anyway, I think it's great. There were some bugs and some stylistic choices that I wasn't the biggest fan of at parts, but overall it's very strong. I'm going to rate it as if there were no bugs because I know they're going to be fixed later. And it's not unplayable by any means. I played it on Switch, so that's probably why there were some bugs that other people didn't get, because the Switch is just kind of weak. But I would give this a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
That's glowing. What did it miss the half on?
9.5 what?
Oh, rap artists from Persia.
Nice.
So it misses the half on, like, the presentation of the game is really excellent in a lot of ways, and like when you're about to fight a boss, it makes it feel really epic until you get a close-up of one of the characters speaking, and it's really anime inspired. A lot of the finishers are anime inspired, and that's one of the things I love about it. But then because of that, when the characters are speaking, I don't know if they did this on purpose or they just felt like it was okay to be lazy about it because it's like anime inspired, but it looks like an English dub sometimes of an anime where like the lips aren't matching what's being said, and like that kind of takes you out of the moment, and the rest of it is presented really well. That's where it loses a half point for me.
I mean, that's unfortunate because like budgets for games, right? There's always going to be something that's going to be lacking in it, and it sucks when that's what they choose to have lag.
But this is Ubisoft; they've got the money.
Yeah, but they still don't want to spend it.
That's true. But this is a very bright spot for Ubisoft. I'm very encouraged here
to see what they have coming next.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they've really, I know I bought whatever the most recent Assassin's Creed was, thinking that it was going to be like a return to form.
It's going to be different.
Yeah,
It's going to treat you different this time.
It was, and you know what? I was a Tom about it, and
it doesn't mean to hurt you.
No,
but it likes hurting you.
I think it does now. Ubisoft does for sure.
Wait, which one was it? Mirage or Valhalla?
Mirage.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean, return to form, because Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins, they're all more open world RPG style. The combat is weird. Like, you don't assassinate people, you just do extra damage to them if you hit certain requirements, like backstabbing them, sneaking up on them, something like that. And like, that wasn't for me. I want to just kill people outright.
Right.
Yeah. Don't take that out of context, please.
I'm putting that in a quote.
But I mean, they just really messed up. Like, yes, the return to form was nice, but like the voice acting, the animation, the animation of their faces, the clipping, like there's just so many problems with it on release that it just, I like barely got into it.
That's interesting, because I started playing Black Flag recently. And I don't like the combat very much. I don't like I think the parkour is just kind of boring at this point. I've played too much of it over my life. But what I really liked were the cutscenes and the dialogue and the way it's written. And the way it looks, right? And that's disheartening to hear that they're not even good at that anymore.
Yeah, this does actually. I need to look up who this person is, but they have one of my favorite voice actors in there. It's kind of its only saving grace.
Is it Wanda Sykes?
Maybe it is.
Is it Michael Fassbender?
Definitely not Michael Fassbender.
For those of you that don't know, he was the killer.
Let's see. I'm looking up. This voice actress was also in Arcane, which, if we had more time, I would talk about that, because it's a phenomenal show. It's incredible.
Is it Elton John?
Elton John?
Yeah.
He's
been in movies.
In AC Mirage.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing his best Arabian accent. Yeah. It was him.
Oh. That seems like a miscast, if I'm being honest.
Let's see if I can find this.
I'll get this fun fact in here really quick for the Zoomer generation. If you like Assassin's Creed, you have Prince of Persia to thank for that. Prince of Persia walked so Assassin's Creed could run. That's the franchise that basically replaced the Prince of Persia franchise. After Ubisoft was done making them, they were making Assassin's Creed. So say thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ubisoft.
No, thank Prince of Persia.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Prince of Persia.
Thanks, Prince of Persia.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, I can't find her, but whatever. I just know that she's in both things, and she does a phenomenal job of her parts in those. But everything else is lacking.
That's a bummer. That's all I've got for Prince of Persia. You got something?
No, I just said it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're so dumb.
Did you like that?
Okay.
Thanks for coming. It's going to be the best episode you've ever heard.
It's the month of love. I was sending them off with some kisses.
Well, thank you. Please like and subscribe on whatever you're on, or follow us. We really appreciate any good reviews or comments. We've been responding to all of them, as far as I know.
Almost all of them.
But you can follow us on all socials at This Is Reviewable. I'm going to say this every single time because it's true. The best place to consume our podcast is on YouTube. Braden does a really good job, and he has been releasing extra little videos, and another one should come out this month.
But go to YouTube for the extra videos, because we do put a lot of work into those.
That's why you sound like an idiot. I was trying to hype you up.
He doesn't need to help you with that.
Well, I just don't want them to go and watch the video expecting it to be amazing, and there's only
it used to be
3 memes that I put in the whole 40-minute episode. Go to YouTube to watch the special videos, I would say.
Okay, bye.